From Ticker, you're watching She's the Boss. Here's Jules Brooke.
Hi and welcome to She's the Boss, the show that's all about female founders and women doing extraordinary things in business. My name is Jules Brooke and I'm the founder of Handle Your Own PR. Now, before I get started today, I normally like to have a little rant, and my rant today is about supporting the women around you. So it is really important that those of us that have experience and have got somewhere with our businesses reach down and lift up the people who are around us or below us to help them go up as well. You know, I mean, what we really want is all women to be successful in business. So let's do everything we can to help them. I want you to think about the way you felt if you're running a business these days and how much it would have made a difference if you'd had somebody there to help you, give you contacts, give you tips, whatever it might be, but just offer and try and help these other women so that all of us can grow. And my last little tip is just to reach out to any experienced women if you are starting a business, if you need help or advice. But enough of that. Today I have two amazing guests in the studio with me and I cannot wait to interview them. We've got Bernadette Shwerdt, who's the founder, I've got to look at this because it's a big long list, the founder of the Australian School of Copywriting, the author of Secrets of Aussie Online Entrepreneurs and How to Build an Online Business. She's also the CEO of a tech startup and a speaker and a whole million other things. The other guest that I have today is Candice Deville, who's the co-founder of Copilot Crew. She's a senior growth marketing advisor and strategist, an e-commerce expert, speaker, entrepreneur, and I'm going to grill her a little bit because she was one of Australia's first successful bloggers. Welcome, ladies. Whoa.
Thanks, Jules.
What an amazing amount of stuff. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is, what are your thoughts about women helping, like us as a group of experienced women, using our expertise to help lift the women around us? Do you think that's really important? Let's go with you, Bernadette.
Yeah, I do. I think that when you reach a certain age and you've gone through the travails of a stormy sea, it's not hard to help someone.
No.
One phone call can make a difference to somebody else.
A huge difference to someone else, that's right.
So
Or a connection.
A connection. And so and a lot of people actually find me on LinkedIn and reach out, and they're kind of young, and they'll say, "I'm really sorry to bother you, and I don't want to be a pain, but can I ask?" And I bring it on, and I reward that, and I really affirm and say, "Keep doing that. Reach out to the highest person you can get to," because it's easy for me to make a phone call. And that's what I was helped with when I was a young woman. I had a lot of people write me a reference or a CV, small things like that really made a difference. Little things.
But the only thing I would say is you don't have to be of a certain age, because if you think about the woman who's just floated Canva, she's what, 26?
Melanie Perkins. Yeah, that's right.
26 now, 19 when she started. So I would only say that we're talking about get those people who are experienced. And what are your thoughts, Candice?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time we're too hesitant to reach out to those people that we see as leaders, and as Bernadette said, you're saying, "Oh, I don't want to bother you." But one of the greatest compliments that you can give people is to ask for their help.
That's right.
And a lot of the time we have so much that we want to share, and we want to be able to share that with people who genuinely want to elevate what they're doing, and they're really seeking that opportunity for help. So we can work them through many of the travails that we've had before, try and prevent mistakes that they may be falling into, or even just be that ear, that sounding board that is needed. So never be afraid to reach out.
Yeah, I thoroughly agree. Now we're just going to quickly go to a break, and then we're going to be back, and I'm going to ask these two ladies what it is that they do and why. Be back in a minute.
Hey, good morning. Ticker's new breakfast show.
Well, most of the time in the morning, I annoy people.
I think Ben is so fabulous. He is wild, he is warm, he is witty.
The first time I met Alana, I realised I wanted to have a drink with her.
You never know what's going to come out of his mouth.
Kick off your morning with Ticker Jumpstart.
We are playing in uncharted territory.
This preparation takes me all night.
It doesn't matter how long I take, because Ben will always take longer.
Ticker Jumpstart with Benjamin Norris and Alana McLean.
You're going to get some different stuff with us, and we're going to be unapologetic for it.
You do realise it's the morning, so you don't need to be the human coffee.
There are now more ways to watch Ticker. Download our apps for Apple and Android devices. We're live on Twitter and YouTube Live. And you can catch us on Amazon Alexa and Google Home. Head to the Ticker website for more. From Ticker, You're watching She's the Boss. Here's Jules Brooke.
Hi and welcome back to She's the Boss. Now I have these two amazing guests, Bernadette Shwerdt and Candice Deville, but I was going to now hit you up with some great questions. So the first thing that I want to know is, what do you do now? You have such a huge list of things that you do and have done. Where's your passion now? What are you working on?
Jules, I am the poster girl for portfolio careers.
Is that the name for it, a portfolio career?
A lot of planes on the runway,
ADHD.
There's all these sort of metaphors for doing a lot of things, and I guess I encourage people, watching to know that you can actually turn a passion into a business.
Absolutely.
And not to think you've got to do 30 years of something in order to then find your passion and make money from it. Start with your passion and work around that.
And it will come if you're really, if it's meant to be. I mean, I know that's a bit woo-woo, but to an extent, if it's meant to be, it is easy.
Yeah.
It just kind of happens, doesn't it?
And I think it's about what doors open easily for you. I've knocked on a lot of hard doors, like acting, and it worked to a certain extent, and I, studied for 3 years at the VCA, and I got onto lots of TV shows, but at some point the doors got really hard, and I said to myself, why am I keep knocking against these hard doors? And there's an open door right there. There's an open door. Walk through the open doors, and then it comes back. I mean, here I am on TV.
There you go.
So in terms of what I'm doing, the foundation business I have is the Australian School of Copywriting, and that's been going for nearly 20 years. And I've trained almost,
congratulations,
so many copywriters in Australia who are now creative directors or running their own agencies. Did my course, and they say to me, that course, it was a little course, but it really opened my eyes and the doors for me to have my career. So that's kind of the foundation business.
Right.
And from there, and also being a copywriter myself, you kind of learn how to pitch, and you'll know this too. When you can pitch an idea or write a flyer, bring out an idea from the ether and put it into a physical form.
Yeah.
That's when ideas start to come alive. Until it's actually cemented in a web page, a flyer, a slide deck, a speech, you don't have anything. So for me, that's where the copywriting has been integral.
So talk to me about the books. I felt like a bit silly wandering around with these, but you are, I believe, working on another one. But these two books are amazing, and I would recommend them to anybody who is interested in starting an online business. Look at that. So what's the next book?
Well, the third book is actually a derivative of those, because the first book, Secrets of Online Entrepreneurs, I interviewed a man called Gabby Leibovich,
yes,
who was the founder of Catch of the Day.
That's right.
Minulog.
He and his brother.
And Hezi. And then he rang me, I don't know, January this year, and said, I'm writing my own book. Would you like to ghostwrite it? So I think that's the other thing I wanted to say, Jules, is one thing leads to another.
Yeah.
Little dominoes fall over, and maybe it takes 4 years for it to actually make an impact. But he rang, and now I'm writing his business book and their
so
story of
all
Catch.
about Scoop on Catch
All
of the
their
Day.
life story, as well as some business tips.
Amazing, because their story is incredible,
Yeah,
isn't
it's a rags to riches story.
I actually worked with them when they were launching Scoop On through my PR agency, which was, I had this little small agency and these amazing guys. But didn't they sell it for 500 million or something?
They actually
enormous to
exited to, there was the Scoop, the Eat Now Menulog conglomerate sold for $855 million.
Were they part of that as well?
To Just Eats, yeah. They started up Menulog. And then they sold the Catch Group to Wesfarmers last year for $1.085 billion.
Billion.
I know all this because I've been living their life.
I know. I just
we got like 50 emails every day.
You're the woman to ask.
Yeah,
oh,
so anyway, there's the...
So there you go, there's a goal for all of us. Let's see if we can sell our businesses for $1 billion.
From nothing. Yeah.
From nothing, exactly, but such a good idea. So let me ask the same question to you, Candice. What do you do now? Because it's very interesting what you're doing with your partner.
Yes. With my partner, Hunter Boyle, I co-founded Co-Pilot Crew.
Right.
And essentially we're a growth marketing firm that works with small to medium businesses, particularly the founders of those businesses, to help them grow in a sustainable and strategic way.
Right.
So in essence, what we are is... To digital marketing, we are the same as like a wealth manager to your personal net worth.
Right.
So
or another way of putting that would be that you are the co-pilot. So you're actually going to sit in the cockpit with people and help them drive this business in the right direction, which is up in the air. I love it.
Yeah.
All the analogies.
But for me, it didn't come so much from, the love of marketing, which I had, but really my core passion. And like Bernadette, there's a million different things that I've done over the years. But what it all came down to for me is potential. I get so excited about potential and uncovering that that and expanding ideas and really lifting the cap off what you think you're capable of, and in business, what you believe that your business is capable of. So by having greater awareness, getting something more out of it.
Right, so I'm going to hit you up with a question you probably weren't expecting, and you don't have to answer, but
Sure.
Can you tell me an example of a company that's come to you thinking, I'd like this little thing that's ended up, you've gone, hang on, you should go much bigger and done something wonderful with them?
Yeah, I think a lot
You
of
don't
the
have to
time,
name names if you don't want to.
there's
but tell us.
oftentimes fear of negative experiences that have happened in the past. So
Right.
to give you a really
Yes.
hands-on example, someone that we're working with at the moment had bad experiences working in social media.
Yep.
So advertising their business on social, nothing happening, they just wasted a fortune. And over the last month, putting in place the different opportunities and strategies that we had, we've managed to get them a 300% return on their ad spend.
Get out of
which is
town.
unbelievable.
300%, that's
and I sit there and I
amazing.
think, this is amazing. You know, there is actually these opportunities there if you have an awareness of it and understand how that works. So for me, anything that gives me the days when I'm air punching, then I know I'm doing a great
well,
job.
that's brilliant. So,
Yeah.
what sort of companies are you working with? How established do they need to be before they come to a company like you?
Yeah, ordinarily they've got sort of 1 or 2 years in
Under
business,
their
so there
belt,
is a
yeah.
little bit of experience there, and we can actually dig into what is under the surface, because the desire to grow isn't something that is lacking for most businesses,
No.
but it's the awareness of the position that they're in to understand how to do that.
Yeah, and what the tactics are that are going to actually grow it.
That's right.
Amazing. Okay, so now 2 digital marketing experts. What questions can I ask you? So the first one, I guess, is I'd love to know your why. So why do you do what you do?
It originally started with when my son was born. I was training and going around the country and doing.
So what were you doing at that stage? More sort of keynote speaker,
It was
trainer?
more trainer in presentation skills,
Right.
in leadership, comms.
That's a bit of a move away from copywriting. You didn't even mention that you did all that as well. I know.
So little time.
I know.
But it was more that I was being an actor at the time. This is in my late 20s and 30s, and then had a training career. And then when I had my son, I realised, I can't travel anymore. I don't want to either, but it's going to be difficult. And I had the copy courses running face to face, and then I thought, well, why don't I just go online? And this
Hang on, when was this?
This is in the early 2000s.
Wow, so really you would
Really
have been
early,
the first
really
online
early, yeah.
courses.
And so, and the reason I took it online was because people would say, I'm in Brisbane or I'm Perth and I can't get to Melbourne to do your copywriting course. Can you, do a home study? It's called home study then. And I said, maybe I could. So that was, and I thought, why don't I?
Yeah.
So I actually wrote the home study pack, and taking an online, like a face-to-face into a pack.
Were you actually doing it where you had video calls back in those days, or you were just doing phone calls? Because I was doing
it was coaching over the phone.
Yeah, over the phone,
and
that's right.
getting that teleconferencing that drop out, it cost a fortune.
Yes.
Had to go to America and use American numbers. So I took it online, and that's when I woke up one morning, and it'd just gone live the night before, and people had put $1,000 odd in my account who bought my course. I'm like, wow.
Hang on a minute, this
is good. I'm in my pajamas, I've got my baby. Oh, hey, let's do more of this. That was the big turning point for me, was like, wow, it's not passive income, because I think that's a misnomer. There's a lot of work to get to passive income, but truly I had done the work, and now it's like this passive income. And that took me on the line of online marketing, and that's when I actually wrote that book, because I thought, well, I've done it this way. How have the other people done it? And that's when I interviewed those people.
So talk to me, did you record videos and sell? When you say it was passive, was it just over the phone, or did you start doing videos and sell video packages?
Never did videos.
So it wasn't totally passive. You were actually coaching people and sort of I've got an hour that I've got to deal with this person.
There was like a
and
one-to-one component, because I
Right.
know people wanted that touch point. But it really was this big 700-page book, and I'd mail it out, and I put a little chocolate in the corner.
I was
People
going to
would
say it would have been paper that you would
It
have
was
been
paper.
mailing out to get a
It was an
workbook to go through.
expensive production, and then eventually we went online, and now it's just, of course, digital, and it's videos.
So
and
did you go
everything.
online as in video early as well?
Yes. It's got to be at least 9 years ago.
Yeah.
So I feel I've been sort of on that cusp of the digital revolution, and as I said, when I thought I've done it this way, how have other people done it? And I literally rang up people and I said, I'd like to interview you about your digital marketing, and these wonderful people, generous, said, yeah, come on in. So we took a camera crew, and then one person led to another.
Because you had a TV show, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which was SME, what was it?
It was called Secrets of Online Entrepreneurs on Fairfax TV.
Right.
So that's kind of, that TV show was created, and from that I did a stage production, with all the councils. They wanted me to talk about the entrepreneurial journey, and I got all those people on the stage as a talk show on stage. And then the book came from that, because one of the Wiley marketing people were on the panel, and they said this is a great book.
Wiley Publishing. Yep.
And so the book was created. So it's kind of been this accidental career in some respects. I'm not overly strategic. I just follow my instincts.
No, but so I was interviewing Kylie Stone from Team Women Australia the other day, and I was saying, she was interviewing me, sorry, and she said, how did this happen? And I said, look, I was just so lucky. This opportunity came and I grabbed it. And she said, there is no such thing as luck. Yeah. You've made it. So, you weren't lucky. You have made everything happen.
Well, that luck's interesting. Even in the book that I'm writing with the guys now, there's a thing called mazal. It's a Jewish Hebrew term. Location, timing, and effort, or learning, I think. It's like luck is being out and circulating, talking, reading, investing.
It is, but it's also taking the opportunity or identifying it as an opportunity when it comes.
And knowing that,
Brilliant. So, Candice, can you tell me what your big why is as well? Why are you doing what you're doing? Because, and I just want to mention to people that you were one of Australia's first bloggers that really had hundreds of thousands of followers. In your day, I mean, back in those days, and I don't mean that this is like in the dark ages or anything, but people were really happy if they got 200 or 300 people following them, and all of a sudden these people just rose to the top, and you were one of them.
Yeah, well, in a way, again, it was sort of the accidental career, and I'd started off working in marketing and PR, where the opportunities that we had were pretty much radio or TV, these sorts of things. We just didn't have the opportunities that we do now. And when I had my daughter, now 16 years ago, she just turned 16 last week.
Congratulations.
I suddenly found that I was really, really isolated from what I wanted to do, and I still had all of this passion to go out and tell stories and do things and learn new things and meet new people. I kind of wanted to just blow the walls off my life and do something bigger. So I used that opportunity to just get online and do as much as I could. I started an eBay store. I started marketing that.
This was all very fashion oriented, wasn't it? Because you only need to look at how stylish you are, I think, to understand why people would want to follow you. And you had a very vintage kind of feel to a lot of what you were wearing.
And I still love
it's amazing.
that.
Yeah.
But it gave me the opportunity to take photos, write about what I loved, and try and find a community. And at that stage, I didn't realise how big this actually could be.
And this is YouTube that you were doing it, or was it WordPress?
YouTube, I was on Blogger, I was on WordPress. I taught myself HTML so I could make it fancier.
Oh my goodness, amazing.
Because once again, you see this potential and you want to always level up.
Yeah.
Just reach that next piece to always be better than you were the day before. So while I was doing this, I found that there was so much more opportunity for someone, with that marketing brain of, well, what can I do? How can I get this story out further? How can I support other small businesses that are doing great things with this platform that I suddenly have? And found myself, in a position where I was being flown to Singapore in 2009 as best fashion blog in Asia Pacific. And sort of, leaving the couch going, wow, okay, this is a thing now. And that's really what opened the doors for me to see the potential that was there for not just writers and individuals, but businesses and companies trying to do amazing things for the world that we have.
And you don't have to sit back and wait for someone to showcase it. You can actually, Ticker is a fantastic example of that as well, is that you can create your own channel.
Exactly.
And there is really very, very low barriers to entry these days. It's really about your content, isn't it?
That's right.
But so you took that, and how did that end up to, or is it just done full circle to come back to marketing?
In a way, it's kind of gone full circle in that over that time, while my children were really young, I did a lot more with blogging. I started a styling company, which I then sold. But the marketing was always there in the background. And that allowed me to really see opportunities and find ways to kind of hack at them and make them happen. What could I pull piece from here and piece from there to solve any problem that was coming up? And as I worked through that, I discovered that many of the small and micro businesses that I was working with, who weren't familiar with this space, weren't able to see how to solve the problems.
No, because you don't know what you don't know.
No,
and if
that's
you're very
exactly
small,
right.
you haven't got that necessarily, unless you've got that network.
That's right.
That can tell you what to do.
And as someone who, I love having that awareness, but being able to connect the dots, to put something together and realize that the opportunities for me was so much greater than what I was doing in my own space. I really wanted to do that for other people.
Amazing.
And that's how Co-Pilot Crew was born, being able to have that experience and connect the dots for people to get them from here to here.
Yeah, no, I love it, because I think that there are a lot of people out there these days talking about digital marketing and saying they know what they're talking about, and I don't know if anyone else has been ripped off, but I definitely have been, because you don't know what you don't know. It's a bit like me taking the car to the mechanic. I have no idea whether they're taking me for a ride or not.
Yeah.
So I guess what's interesting to me is that you have now partnered with Hunter, and the two of you really know your stuff. You've done it. You've actually done it yourselves so that you know how to do it, which I think is great. It's not theory to you, it's practice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we haven't got that much longer, but I would love to discuss with you just some of the things that you might have learned along the way that you think might help some other women out there that might be thinking about starting their business or trying to scale their business. So can I start with you, Bernadette? Have you got any tips?
I've got a really random idea that I did a TED talk on how to bumble your way to success.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
I
a
might
big
be
believer
doing
that bumbling as a strategy for starting a business is really important, because when people get into something new that they haven't done, be it a business, a relationship, a language or a skill, there's an awkward stage at that beginning, and if you're not aware that it's going to be awkward, and I call it bumbling, because you really don't know what the next step is, then you're really tempted to give up too quickly, because you think, it's me, I don't know what I'm doing, and I shouldn't be doing this, and I haven't got the skills, I haven't got the ability. It's like, no, everyone goes through that really awkward stage. So if you can just stick with that early stage and know that everyone does it, move through to the next level of competence, and then the dreams can come true. But when people give up too early, it's because they're not aware that this bumbling stage is going to happen. And when I did the TED talk, I finished it, and a man came up to me afterwards and he said, I enjoyed your talk. I said, oh, that's nice. He said, I'm a bumbler. I said, oh, what do you do? He goes, I'm a surgeon. A surgeon? Oh, really?
You should be bumbling.
And he said that when we do new stitching, we have to try new ways and new techniques. We don't tell the patients, of course, but we are all aware that we do not know what we're doing. So I thought, everyone bumbles at some level. And if I can just say to anybody starting something new, even just the smallest thing, just go with that sense of uncomfortability and just push through, because it will get to another level, and then you'll bumble again, but at least you get past that.
Yeah, that's terrific advice. I do remember speaking to the head of the entrepreneurs, it was Entrepreneurs Network Worldwide, I can't remember, it was a guy called Carlo Santoro, and I said, one day I just want to be known as an entrepreneur, and he said, you are an entrepreneur, and I was saying, but you have to have kind of achieved something to be an entrepreneur. And he was going, well, you've set up your own business. Anyway, one of the things that was really interesting that he said to me was, it's tenacity and it's not giving up that really defines the entrepreneur as well, because as much as you find that bumbling stage uncomfortable, if you believe what you're doing, you just keep going and going, despite all the naysayers, despite all the setbacks. You learn from them, you just keep on going. And there are gazillions of people out there that have business ideas, but an entrepreneur is somebody who actually implements it and goes with it.
And when there's no pathway to what you've done, and no one's done
You're breaking new ground.
It's more bumbling, because you can't just follow another model. So the higher the creativity level, and the more unique that idea is, the more you'll feel that awkwardness. But that's when great ideas happen. Look at Canva, you just mentioned.
Yeah, amazing.
So that's my...
She's fantastic. Now, what about you? Have you got some tips for any women, and they can be digital marketing tips as well, for any women out there that might be trying to scale their business or start a business?
Think one of the things that is really important for entrepreneurs, because we're all so full of ideas all the time, and, waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning to write things down, shiny new things, is to really focus in on our strengths, because we have so many things that we're interested in. And if you can sit down and go, okay, well, these are the things I'm good at, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a hard skill. It can be a soft skill like problem solving or relationship building or any of those things. Really focus in on those strengths, because that's where excellence is born.
Right.
And when you can do that, then you're always able to continually leveling up. But when you try and be everything to everyone, you end up in this mediocre position.
Of a jack of all trades instead of a master of one.
That's right, and it can be really soul destroying. So
Yeah.
I'd say focus on your strengths. That's where your excellence is born.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good advice. Now, Bernadette, unfortunately for you, or fortunately, I don't know, but in your LinkedIn profile you say, if you want to know about where entrepreneurship is going in Australia, ask me. So I'm going to ask you, where do you think it's going, especially on the back of the pandemic? Because
I think people
that's shifting things a lot.
Oh, absolutely. People are home, they're using technology more than ever before. I think it's a really exciting time for entrepreneurship because you look at our children going through high school, they're not going to go into the jobs that we went into. I went into a bank, I went into a cafe, I went into, a clothes shop, a factory. I did so many jobs, going through university and getting my first opportunity. So I think people now have to take responsibility for building their own businesses, their own ideas, their own jobs. And I think...
Do you think that's going to be more prevalent? I mean, certainly, I don't know what the percentage was of people that were starting their own businesses last year, but I wonder, on the back of the pandemic, when you're sitting at home, maybe you've been sent home from your job for a couple of months, or maybe you've been fired from your job, because a whole lot of people were let go, which I found really hard to believe. But in those instances, I just can imagine that at least some of them have to be sitting there going, I actually don't want to do this anymore.
I think it's really
I want to
put
take
people
control
into
of my life.
Like a friend of mine said, I don't want to go back to teaching. She said, I'm nearly 60, I haven't got enough money in the bank, but I can't retire. So what do I do? And she said, I said, you need to reinvent yourself. So that reinvention, I think, is an opportunity now, and people have got the time to think about it. A lot of students come to me and said, I've been wanting to do copywriting for a long time. I've finally got the time to do this course. So I think this is a time for people to find their new horizon.
And what about you with digital marketing through the pandemic? How has that affected you? I'm really interested to know, are people going, huge opportunity, which is what I can see, like massive
opportunities? At the beginning, a lot of
everyone's at
people
home.
weren't. There was a lot of fear there. But being the eternal optimist that I am, I look at this and I just see opportunity everywhere. I see all of these ways that you can change what you're doing, that you can find different ways to really meet the needs that people have. And it just takes a different perspective. A lot of the time you're so close to your own problems, you can't see that. And you need someone outside to put their eyes across it and their experience too. If you've been through lots of different markets in different countries,
great time to
you
reassess.
see all these sorts of things. And for us, naturally, that's just what we do. So it's been a fantastic time to see those opportunities, to push outside of comfort zone, which is where amazing ideas are born.
Yes. Brilliant. Well, you two are the most amazing guests. Thank you both so much for joining me today. I could talk to you for hours and hours, so I'm sorry that it's got to end now, but I hope that you have learned a lot from these two amazing women. And thank you very much for joining us today. Now, let me let you know that as well as the TV show, we're also running, I'm also running free online Zoom lunches every Friday under the She's the Boss brand, and we have just launched She's the Boss podcast because there's so much more I want to talk to you about. So each episode is just 1 hour with someone, and I've already interviewed you, and I will definitely interview you to find out more. So if you're interested in hearing more about these amazing women, then tune into the podcast, which is on every platform you can think of, called She's the Boss Chats. And if you want to know anything else about She's the Boss, go to she'stheboss.com.au. But thank you so much, ladies. And we will see you next week.
Hey, good morning. Ticker's new breakfast show.
Well, most of the time in the morning, I annoy people.
I think Ben is so fabulous. He is wild, he is warm, he is witty.
The first time I met Alana, I realised I wanted to have a drink with her.
You never know what's going to come out of his mouth.
Kick off your morning with Ticker Jumpstart.
We are playing in uncharted territory.
This preparation takes me all night.
It doesn't matter how long I take, because Ben will always take longer.
Ticker Jumpstart with Benjamin Norris and Alana McLean.
You're going to get some different stuff with us, and we're going to be unapologetic for it.
You do realise it's the morning, so you don't need to be the human coffee.
There are now more ways to watch Ticker. Download our apps for Apple and Android devices. We're live on Twitter and YouTube Live. And you can catch us on Amazon Alexa and Google Home. Head to the Ticker website for more. Introducing Ticker Sport.
Mate, how exciting is it to kick off Ticker Sport?
Mate, I'm as pumped as you, which is pretty pumped. We're here to talk sport, business, there's a market, there's a niche.
It's David Davidovich and Adrian Franklin tackling the biggest issues.
Mate, we're talking sport, but we're talking business as well. And as you know, right now, there is no more important time. The world has changed and we are here to react.
Where nothing's off limits.
This is unprecedented. We've never seen sport ground to a halt like it has. Sport's heading in a completely different direction and we will be at the forefront.
Every Friday, live on Ticker and on demand via the Ticker apps.
Ben, Rob and Robbo. Streaming across the globe, Ben Norris, Rob McKnight and David Robinson. Ben, Rob and Robbo. News, reviews, entertainment, it's the Ben, Rob and Robbo. Ben, Rob and Robbo.